Have you ever run into someone who disappeared for some time and now looks fundamentally different? Not just physically, but the way they carry themselves, the way they talk. Here's what nobody tells you about that transformation. It didn't happen when everyone's watching. It happened in silence when nobody was paying attention. In this video, I am going to share 11 protocols to transform your life this winter. This is the time to disappear and become the best version of yourself. Phase 1. Build. These first 4 protocols establish your foundation when nobody's watching. They set up who you're becoming and create the conditions that make transformation inevitable. Let's start. Protocol 1. Pick your winter identity. First protocol is the foundation for everything else. Pick one identity you want to become by spring, not a goal. For example, instead of saying, I want to lose 20 pounds, pick the identity, I'm someone who trains consistently. See the difference? Goals are about doing. Identity is about being. And your brain cares way more about being than doing. Here's how this works. Step 1. Pick your spring identity right now. Who do you want to be when you emerge in March or April? Write it down in present tense. Step 2. Adopt that identity immediately, not on January 1st or your birthday. Step 3. Build in complete silence. This is crucial. No social media updates about your journey. This may seem counterintuitive if you love accountability posts, but the research is clear. Announcing your goals give you premature dopamine hit. Your brain feels that you have already done the work, and your motivation plummets. But when you adopt an identity silently, you have to actually become it to get any satisfaction. There is no shortcut. Step 4. Let every action be a vote for this identity. Make sure that every choice you make is either voting for the new identity or the old one. Protocol 2. Go invisible. This protocol protects your transformation from external interference. It is to go completely invisible socially during winter. Not just less active. Invisible. So, no more posting on social media about what you are doing. No sharing goals or projects. No updates on progress. Just complete radio silence. Best part, winter makes this effortless, as people expect less social activity in winter anyway. But here's what's really happening. You're creating space to transform without observation. See, there's research on something called social facilitation. It says that being watched alters your performance quality. Sometimes it helps, but often it creates pressure that kills the process. As you start performing for the audience instead of actually building, going invisible removes that completely. And here's another benefit. When you stay invisible, people's expectations of you become fluid. They're not locking you into your old identity through constant interaction. So, no more being dragged down. Protocol 3. Embrace boredom. This resets your brain's reward system. Here is what you do. After sunset, restrict all easy dopamine sources. Here's why this matters. Every time you get an easy dopamine hit from scrolling or watching something, you're raising the threshold for what feels rewarding. So you need bigger and bigger hits to feel satisfied. It's dopamine inflation. But when you remove the easy sources, your baseline drops back down. Suddenly, slower activities like reading feels engaging again. Winter's perfect for this because it gives you this long stretch of dark hours where you can practice being bored. And boredom is where creativity lives. When your brain's not constantly stimulated, it starts making connections. But most people kill boredom immediately with their phones. Let yourself be bored. Watch what your brain does with that space. Protocol 4. Think deep weekly. This turns winter into your strategic thinking period. Almost all of us tend to accumulate big questions throughout the year, ones that we don't get time to think deeply about. Questions like, what do I actually want from my career? What relationships am I maintaining out of obligation versus genuine connection? What would I do if I wasn't afraid of what people think? These questions require real thinking time. Winter is when you answer these questions. For me, it led me to move locations. It is when I pivoted my career and posted my first video. Here's my system. I keep a running list all year of questions that I didn't have time to process. Then in beginning of the winter, I block out 2 hours every Sunday for question season. Now, if you like my videos, consider subscribing to my newsletter. Phase 2, protect. Now comes the hard part. Protecting that progress when winter chaos hits. Holidays, family obligations, work pressure, the cold wearing you down. This is where most transformations die. These next 4 protocols are your defense system. They keep you on track when everything's trying to pull you off. Let's get into them. Protocol 5. Invest in 5 people. Identify 5 to 7 relationships that you want to deepen. Then during winter, invest in them consistently. Nothing intense. A text checking in can be enough. Winter can get slow and lonely sometimes. People remember who showed up when others didn't. Pick your 5 to 7 relationships. Make winter your relationship investment season. By spring, you'll have a foundation everyone else is still trying to build. Protocol 6. Work in dark hour. Use the early darkness to completely restructure your day. In winter, darkness falls between 4:30 to 6 p.m. Most people fight this. They blast artificial light and try to stay productive until 9 or 10 p.m. Then they wonder why their sleep is terrible and they're exhausted all winter. I do the opposite. When darkness hits, I start my wind down. By 5:30 p.m., I'm done with work. Lights in my space get dimmer, screens go away. I shift into evening mode, just gradual decompression. By 8 or 8:30 p.m., my child sleeps, and then I'm ready for bed. And I wake up naturally between 5 and 6 a.m. Here's why this works. Research shows that we sleep about 30 minutes longer in winters. Fighting this seasonal pattern disrupts your biology. Working with it gives energy. Plus, sleeping more in winter means waking up during the dark hours. For me, that's when the deepest work happens. For example, right now, it's 5 a.m. When I am writing this piece. By the time the sun goes up, I would have already done 2 to 3 hours of my best work. So, sleep more, wake earlier, work in darkness, that's your winter advantage. Protocol 7. Master one skill. Pick one skill at the start of winter. Just one. And go obsessively deep on it for the entire season. Here's why winter's perfect for this. Skill development requires consistent, focused practice over time. Most people can't maintain that consistency because their life is too fragmented. There are too many distractions like social events, summer activities, trips. But winter removes most of those interruptions. Weather keeps you home, and your social calendar is generally lighter, so exploit that. One skill, 90 minutes a day, every single day. By the end of winter, that's about 200 hours of focused practice. That's enough to go from beginner to intermediate, or intermediate to advanced. So while everyone else is dabbling in 5 different things and mastering none, you focus on just one. By spring, you'll have a capability nobody expected. Protocol 8. Eat in 8 hours. Winter creates natural eating advantages most people miss. Your social calendar gets lighter. Fewer barbecues, fewer outdoor events. The eating opportunities just drop without you doing anything. Most people don't notice this structure shift. This protocol will help you weaponize it. Here's my approach. My heavy meals are in a compressed window, usually between noon and 8 p.m. That's an 8-hour eating window. The rest is either fasting or low-calorie snacks. Your body operates differently in winter. Use that instead of fighting it. I'm not saying go on some extreme diet. I'm saying notice that winter naturally makes certain things easier and lean into that. Phase 3, emerge. All right, you've built the foundation, you've protected it through the chaos. Now it's time for the final phase. These last 3 protocols aren't about building new things. They're about optimization and documentation. You're polishing what you built and creating undeniable proof of your transformation. So when spring arrives and you emerge, the change isn't just visible to you. It's visible to everyone. Protocol 9. Match light to task. Over the years, I have realized that gloomy winter days make me lazy. I tackle this by optimizing my environment. Here's how it works. For focused, analytical work, use bright light, preferably cool-toned. These are for tasks like writing and detailed thinking. Research shows that higher illuminance improves attention and reaction time. Dim lighting for focused work makes you sluggish, but it's great for creative brainstorming work. Why? Because lower light reduces inhibition in your prefrontal cortex. That's where your brain filters and restricts ideas. Dimming it down lets more connections form, thus enabling divergent thinking. It's why your best ideas come in the shower or right before sleep. Protocol 10. Document daily proof. Every night before bed, I spend 5 minutes with my winter witness journal. Not a regular journal or a gratitude journal, but witness journal. One question only. What did I do today that proves I'm becoming my new identity? That's it. Some days it's a big thing. Some days it's small. Both count. Here's why this is crucial. Transformation happens slowly. Too slow to notice day to day. Without documentation, you won't believe it's real. Your brain will tell you nothing's changing. But the Winter Witness Journal captures proof. After 90 days, you have 90 entries. 90 specific actions that prove you're not who you used to be. And every night when you write in it, you're reinforcing the identity. You're telling your brain, this is who we are now. Your brain believes what it sees repeated. By spring, you'll have a transformation record that makes doubt impossible. Protocol 11. Obsess over metrics. This last protocol makes transformation measurable. Pick 2 to 3 specific metrics that represent your new identity. Then track them obsessively all winter. Here's why. If you track too many things, you end up monitoring nothing effectively. But if you pick the right 2 to 3 metrics, they tell you everything. For example, if your new identity is someone who trains consistently, the metrics might be: first, training sessions completed per week; second, average workout duration; third, weekly strength progression. Those 3 metrics aptly capture whether you are living the identity. And by tracking them, you also create a feedback loop. That tells you if you are actually becoming that person or just pretending. Remember, what gets measured gets managed. But more importantly, what gets measured gets taken seriously. So there it is. 11 winter-specific protocols that create an unfair advantage.